flushed out, but I'm going to be back here in a minute and that'll, it'll work out. Ooh, sorry, I'm so red. Just got out of the shower and I am allergic to the chemicals that they put in city water. So every time I take a shower, I itch like a crazy person for about a half an hour. As does Candy, one of my daughters. Looking for the live here in case y'all have comments where I can see. There I am. I'm on the right page and I'm live. Let me make sure my volume's down. Okay. So, while y'all were gone, we earlier today, so far what we've done here, and I'm going to be pulling out some of these paper towels while we talk. So far what we've done is this piece stunk whenever I bought it. I don't know how else to put it. It was full of filthy. So I cleaned it with some TSP and a bunch and nearly cried over it because it was nasty. And then I put a coat of Junk Monkey milkshake milk paint and wild salmon mixed with their extra bond on it because I didn't want it to chip any. And I let that dry. Then I put a coat of the milkshake paint over it without the extra bond because I wanted to see if it would crackle or anything a little bit. And we did that earlier today and it did not. So, well, I forgot. In between there, first we worked on repairing the areas of the veneer that I tried to rip off the whole piece of veneer and that didn't work, so then I stuck it back down and there were some nasty seams in here. So we took some Dixie Belle mud and a big stencil and put a decorative design on here. And I know you probably can't see that right now, but I'm hoping that when we glaze it, that's going to make those details shine back through. Before I let this paint dry that I painted on this morning, the second coat, then I sanded over it just a little bit here and there on the areas that I wanted to look more distressed. Then I put a coat of banana peel, which is the Junk Monkey matte finish top coat on, because when I put this brown glaze on, I don't want it to sink in too much. And holding this out for my wedding story, but I'm going to show you. See if I can get it up there where you can see. This is my wedding photo. It's the only one. I think she might have shot out 2 of these pictures, but there's a story to it. And it's from a special memory wedding chapel in Las Vegas, Nevada. So there we go on that. What I got out, I tore off some of these blue shop towels. And like I said, I just got out of the shower, so I don't want this stuff under my fingernails. I'm not very good with gloves, especially not these kind of gloves. But I'm fixing to see if I can possibly not get this brown stuff under my fingernails and stain myself. I've got a little bowl of water down there in case whenever I start working on the glazing that too much sticks on here and I want to take some of it back off. One more thing I did while y'all were sleeping is I painted the 2 outer edges and all of the inside surfaces of the drawers in a blue color that will match well with the drawer liner that we're going to put in a minute. So hopefully that once it all gets on there, we'll tie it all together. I'm going to see if I can turn this around to make sure that you can see as much as you can of the actual glazing on the top. Let me see if I can bring the camera forward. Yeah, Lisa Ann, thank you. That's a husband thing there too, don't you know? We have grandkids, so usually my husband has a shotgun at every door. And I'm like, dude, you can't just have guns leaning in every corner of the house when we got grandkids. So now we have baseball bats. Beware, we will play ball with you if you try to come in our house. I'm a little bit scared about this, but these are really good. These blue shop towels. I think there's a link to them if you want a link to them, but I think everybody knows what they are. see if I can, you're probably not gonna see me in just a minute. Because I'm gonna try to turn it down where you can get a better visual of the tabletop or the vanity top itself. But you can see me for a second, huh? This is hard to turn, and I can't do anything with gloves on. They make me sweat, that's what they do. I took that shower and I have beets and turnips in the oven roasting with some onion. So that's going to be dinner in a minute. So I'm working on dinner. Working on dinner as we speak. So I think mainly the most thing that y'all are going to want to see is up close in these crevices and around the details of, yes, it's definitely private security. You don't want to meet our security guy. Around these details and see how that's going to do. And that's the first big aim. So I'm going to try to do it in sections. I'm going to take a sip of my tea. I was just burning up. And I took the shower because I was freezing to death. So let's hope I'm not coming back down with another bout of that flu. Because that has been rough stuff. Okay. I'm just going to use a chip brush. Plain old cheap chip brush. Shake this around a little to stir it up. I'm going to sit it on this, so hopefully I won't have any dribbles. And I usually feel like it's smarter to go along the whole length of the piece whenever I'm adding a finish. But in this particular instance, I'm going to do this around here, and then I'll go down and do the rest of it. I've not used this Junk Monkey glaze before, so this whole process I'm sharing with you as I'm learning right here too. I want it to get really good up in these crevices. So I'm going to twirly gig it around there. And I may go ahead, hope I don't regret this. So what I'm going to do is get it on here real good. And then I'm going to go around all the, right here, like the ledge, I guess, of this top piece. And get it in those creases because I'm going to want it to be in there a long time. That's where I sanded just a little bit, hoping that even though I was putting a top coat on to protect it some, that it would, you know, rough up the surface a little bit. Make it get a little extra in those details. And then I'm going to come through and do the whole thing and then wipe it off. I have the bowl of water for just in case it becomes, you know, too much. But right now, hopefully that having that top coat on there is going to protect us. I must say, with this being my first experience with milk paint, I don't know why I was scared of it for so long, but I really was. I mean, not even joking about that, because of the unpredictability of how it'll finish and what it'll do. I was just always afraid to use it on anything that I would, you know, not like what it did. But I've been okay with it. And having the extra bond for it not to overly crack or peel off or whatever it is that it surprises you and does really made a difference for me. So I'm glad I had that. And if you're interested in any of that or knowing any more about the Junk Monkey and their products, I have a link I'm going to put in at the end. If you're not following Junk Monkey Paint Company and Sonia Miller, you're missing out. That girl is a whiz, I'm telling you. She humps it. Okay, here we go. Tore my paper towel. Let's see. Oh yeah, that looks very pretty. I hope y'all can see that. Can you see that real good? Getting the majority of it off first. And then I'm going to go back and rub a little bit more to get it down to where I want it in between the layers. That's exactly what I wanted. I wanted the the detail of that to show, but not like be white or bright or a color of its own. I wanted it to sort of fade in, but sort of be something special up there in that corner that really is just something hiding the ugly, that everybody will think it's special instead of being the hider that it is. That turned out very well. That I'm surprised and pleased. I don't know if I'm surprised, but I'm pleased. That still left a lot of that salmon color in there. It's a lot different if you compare the two surfaces now. See how much brighter this one is than that one. But I think that's okay. That still left it, that still left enough of the salmon coming through to look nice and toned it down. I think it's awesome. I think it's turning out really, really good. Okay. I'm going to come around and get it in these details. Oh yeah, the wedding story. Let me tell you that. Let me tell you that. Earlier today, since it's getting close to Valentine's Day, I don't know if I told y'all on a live or if I just told y'all in a blog post about the story about Eric and I having to do, we wanted to get married in RI, and he was just going along with it. After, you know, this was after 17 years of dating, and I wanted to get married in Italy. We were going to Italy, and I thought, well, how cool would that be if we could get married there? So we looked into it, and they wanted $2,500 just for the license to get married there. And that's just not the kind of people we are to spend $2,500 on just the license, you know. We would still have to pay for everything else. So we looked around some more and found out that it was less expensive in Switzerland. And we could get married in Bern, Switzerland, which is like their capital, where the consulate was at. And it would be a pretty cool experience. So we were going to do all that. Got over there, got everything. His mom had to go to the Capitol in West Virginia to get, you know, the special stuff that needed to be done to his birth certificate. I had to go to Houston to our most local consulate to get, trying not to step on my stuff here, to get stuff done with my birth certificate. We did all that, and then we flew all the way to, hey Teresa, and then we flew all the way to Switzerland and had our appointment to get married that day, and they decided to close for the weekend. And there we were in Switzerland, and they were gone. The consulate was gone, and I guess our appointment meant nothing to them, so we blew it off again. And then the next time he came home, my husband was off work, and the next time he came home, he's like, you know, do you want to get married? And I'm like, yeah, you know, I reckon. And so he's like, let's go to Vegas. I'm like, you know, we've been dating 17 years, and we're going to go to Vegas and get married. And that's what we did. So we hopped a plane to Las Vegas. He was going to be home for 2 weeks. So we hopped a plane to Las Vegas and saw a few sights there. And then we went down to the courthouse, and there's a big old line there. Everybody in the world getting married in Vegas. So we got our marriage license, both unbelieving that we were doing that after all these years, that we weren't going to have our family there, our friends there, or anything. We were getting married in Vegas. But anyway, we're like, we don't even know where the chapels are. And whenever you get your license in Las Vegas, they give you a list of chapels. And so I'm like, well, what are we going to do? So Eric said, we'll rent a car. And we'll drive around and look at all these chapels, and you pick out which one you want, and we'll get married there. I'm like, all right, let's do it. And so we drove around and found a couple of them, and, you know, I'm like, I don't believe I need a, you know, Elvis to perform the ceremony or anything here. I think I'll be just fine without that. So we picked one out, and it just so happened to be May 5th. So Eric's like, let's go on and get married. Let's do it. And I'm like, well, since it's 5:05, we may as well wait until 5:05 p.m. Then you have no reason whatsoever to ever forget our anniversary. So we waited. We went and ate at, you know, some prime rib at one of the buffets or something, and came back to the drive-thru, waited in the parking lot until it was 5:05, and then drove up, and they had like a menu board outside, like McDonald's, you know what I mean? They had, what do you want to do with when you get married? Do you want the package with the Elvis, or do you want the package with, you know, whatever? Well, we ended up taking the number 4 package. And the number 4 package was getting married at the drive-thru window with 2 photographs. I'm like, and it was like $35 or something like that. And I'm like, this is, you know, I know he's a cheapskate and this is crazy. But I was, you know, I wanted to get married in a hot air balloon over there, but I'm afraid of heights, so that wasn't going to work out. So we went to the drive-thru window. And the lady slides open the window and said, hey, how are y'all doing? And we said, well, we'll take the number 4. You know, waiting to see if she was going to say you want fries with that. But she didn't. And they said, just one moment, please. And she comes back, and she's got on a black robe like a judge would wear. And I'm like, this is outrageous. This is crazy. So she comes back to the window in her official attire and says, that'll be $35. Did you want a picture with that? And we're like, yeah. So she leans out the drive-thru window with a Polaroid Instamatic camera that shoots out the picture right then, and took 2 pictures. And then she said, I'll be right back again, and left and came back, and she said, they're working on your picture. Like, it was just came out of an Instamatic camera. I don't know what the heck they could be working on it for. But anyway, she said, you know, that's now $45, I think, because we got 2 pictures. Because they asked us, did we want it in a frame? That was part of it. I said, yeah, I guess so. So that little plastic thing I showed you at the beginning was the frame. But anyway, so she's like, okay, are y'all ready to begin? We're like, yeah, you know, I guess as ready as we're going to be. And she looks at Eric, and she looks at me, and she said, now, marriage is a serious institution not to be taken lightly. And I started laughing, which I do at highly inappropriate situations all the time. I have my whole life. If you want to hear about that story, the biggest one of my life, we had to move whole towns when I was in high school because I laughed at the principal and wouldn't stop. Couldn't stop, I might say. It's looking a little dirty, so I'm going to dampen this and go back over it. So she's like, marriage is a serious institution not to be taken lightly. And I'm thinking, we're getting married in a drive-thru window. Who does she think she's kidding? See where that pulled a little more off of there whenever going with the dampness. Hey, Teresa. The other Teresa. And that looks nice, I think. And then she looks at Eric and she says, you realize that, you know, with this, when we perform this ceremony, that you will need to support her for the rest of her life. And he said, well, I've been doing it for the last 15 years already. I don't guess there's any chance it's going to change now. And then she looked at me, still laughing, and said, do you want me to say obey? And I'm like, well, you can say anything you want to, but I've not been doing that for the last 15 years and ain't fixing to start either. That's a little bit outdated, don't you think? And So she didn't say obey, and she went through the, you know, the traditional husband and wife thing there. Do you take Eric to be your lawfully wedded husband? And I'm like, well, yeah, I reckon that's why we're here. And Terry, you know, Eric, do you take Terry to be your lawfully wedded wife? And he said, I sure do. Said, you know, we're ready to get on with it. And so she closed the window again and came back with our picture in that little plastic frame, handed us our marriage license back signed. She said, we had some witnesses in here. I had them witness it for you. And your husband and wife. So there we were in a rental car in Las Vegas, Nevada. After 17 years of dating, we were married. And he said, well, now I'm going to take you on your honeymoon. I'm like, you are? Awesome. And he took me to Hoover Dam. Now, not to be a complainer. It's a nice dam as far as dams go. But it wasn't where I really expected I was going to go on my honeymoon after 17 years of dating. So I guess I didn't say nothing. I didn't complain. But he kind of looked at me and he's like, did you enjoy the Hoover Dam? I'm like, well, yeah, I guess it's all right as far as a dam goes, you know. And he's like, where did you want to go? I'm like, well, I don't know. People usually go somewhere big on their honeymoon, like Niagara Falls or something. Now, I have never been to Niagara Falls, never wanted to go to Niagara Falls, never thought about Niagara Falls. I just remembered at that moment when he asked me that one time my mama told me that when she was young, everybody went to Niagara Falls for their honeymoon. And so next thing I knew, we were back on a plane the very next day and we were in Niagara Falls. So I should have picked Aruba or something like that. But I love Niagara Falls. I got sick while I was there, but I are in a lot of leg pain. I really, really enjoyed Niagara Falls. It was absolutely beautiful. But because I was in so much pain with my legs, I couldn't go down in the mist boat and all that kind of stuff. So we missed a lot of it, but we still, you know, got to spend time together, which was awesome. And then after 17 years, we were married, which was awesome. So it wasn't anything to really complain about. We left Niagara Falls and went just, you know, we rented a car. And we rented, all they had left was Lincoln Town car. And it was like a bright teal color. I've never seen a bright teal Lincoln Town car in my entire life. But we got this Lincoln Town car. And that was the smoothest ride I had ever been on in my life. My back wasn't hurting. My legs weren't hurting. And it was just spectacular. I was so thankful for it because my pain was actually ruining our honeymoon. And we went to a place called Wasaga Beach. And we met the nicest people. I mean, it was just as if they were from right down the road. Just the nicest people you could ever imagine there. We really had a good time. And it was in May. It wasn't, you know, warm enough for everybody to be out at the beach or anything yet there. So we didn't go to the beach, but we did stay at a quaint old inn there and, you know, meet some people there and really enjoyed ourselves. So I'm going to push this back and do this part in front of y'all because there's a whole lot of detail in the crevices here and then in the legs. So we may as well stay on for that part. But I'm happy with how it's turning out so far. See the detail in the drawer, how it's just picking up that detail that we added with the, what do you call it, the stencil. Here you can see a little better the blue that I added. It's kind of a teal color to the inside and the sides of the drawers. Give those a little interest. And to cover up some of the stink. This is still the stinky piece. But anyway, that's our story and I'm sticking to it. Oh, and the reason it's called a drive-by is because Eric says everything weird. So when we're home and he's telling everybody that we're married, he's like, me and Terry did a drive-by. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Why are you telling people we did a drive-by? A drive-by is like a shooting. We didn't do a drive-by. He's like, yeah, we did. We rented that car and we went to the drive-through window and did the deed. I'm like, that's not a drive-by, that's a drive-through. Oh, you just have to know him to know that we now got married in a drive-by. Okay. Let's get this little detail here, and then everything else is pretty simple, so I'll do that by myself. And what I'm going to do after this is let this dry, possibly overnight. I mean, I've been pretty busy today. We've been still working on building the fence and all that. If not, I'll put a top coat on it tonight and load it in the back of my car and bring it to work tomorrow. Be done with it, but we shall see. But I'm going to let this glaze dry, finish making dinner. Eric's grilling some steaks, and I have those turnips and beets in the oven with some onion, and we'll eat that. Make our livers healthy and happy. I'm getting deep in all the crevices and the details of these legs. That's what I love to do the most with these glazes. I want to make sure I get it in back too. So, that's our Valentine drive-by wedding story. And if you count the whole trip, it was cheaper than people pay for a wedding nowadays. Flying to Vegas, going to Hoover Dam, flying to Canada, going to Niagara Falls, driving back into the state side of Niagara Falls, going to Wasaga Beach, and coming home. So we have an adventure and a story to tell, and we didn't have a big wedding bill. See how in the crevices here it's staying dark. That's our goal. That's what's going to give it the finish we were looking for. And then we're hitting all the high points on these decorative legs, and then very easy on the inner levels so that it makes sure and leaves plenty of the brown in those crevices so that it continues to look old. Not like this thing could ever look new. I sure hope somebody loves it. I am putting a lot of heart into it. Okay, so that's our video for today. I think see if I can scoot it up. The detail in this part showed really good. I'll get some better photographs of the details on the drawers and on that as that dries and share those with you. But I appreciate you joining me, and I'll see you on the other side. Bye.